everybody. This is my book review on this book called Invitation to Educational Ministry by Hillman and Edwards. So I'm in children's ministry, so obviously one of the first things that stuck out to me was in chapter 5 when it was about preschool and children and about different levels that kids can learn things. And I plan to implement some of the things that were addressed in this book, like the specific needs for children at different ages in my ministry by passing on the information to my volunteers and teachers. Another thing that stuck out to me when I was reading the book was in chapter 12 when it talks about senior adults who are often forgotten in ministry context today, especially with young leaders. But it pointed out specific ways that we can encourage and value senior adults in our church. And so I wrote down a few ways that I can honor and respect and encourage those that are in the church that I serve as well, that I plan to implement. The third thing that I learned was in chapter 16. It has an appendix of creative teaching tools that Jesus used. And so I wrote down specific things that he said, like cause and effect things that he did, questions and conversations, and I plan to use those in my ministry to address all the learning styles of different kids in my ministry, whether they're a kinesthetic learner, hands-on, whether they're visual. Use the ways that Jesus did to reach them. The fourth thing that stuck out to me was in chapter 18. It was about utilizing resources and camps and other outdoor recreation activities. And so I also had this great section about training your staff and training your volunteers for that week of camp. And so I wrote down specific things that I want to logistically train them on, and also make sure that they know the mission and vision of the camp for that week, and use those elements when I'm preparing for camp. The last thing that stuck out to me was the very last chapter, chapter 21, right before the part where you design your own ministry. It says, it's a quote by Barney Posner, and he says, "Exemplary leaders make other people feel strong." And he goes on to say that you can evaluate the effectiveness of your ministry based on how comfortable your leaders are leading, and if they all are leading strong, and if they can carry on the work of the ministry. And so those are specific goals that I've set up for my ministry to see if I'm being successful year in and year out, and how am I equipping my people. So overall, great book, great resource for educational ministry settings.